Hello and welcome to Bags of Action. My name's Steve and this is a 5-minute review of The Last Samurai from 2003. The film is directed by Edward Zwick, who's worked on a number of films that have grand scales or lots of action. Recently he's done things like Blood Diamond, Defiance. He worked again with Tom Cruise in 2016 on Jack Reacher, Never Go Back. He's also a producer, so he's worked in the business for a long time. The film stars Tom Cruise, Ken Watanabe, William Atherton, Billy Connolly, Masato Harada, and Hiroyuki Sanada. The story follows an American military advisor who is tired of war. Following the War of Independence and a fight against the Native Americans, he's come out of that war a broken man. He's a drunk. He's haunted by the past of what he's done, and he just wants to die, essentially. And in order to make a living, he's having to kind of go to these events and talk about how much he loves this amazing new Winchester rifle because it helped kill the Red Man. With nothing to do and nowhere to go, he gets fired from that job, and he's then asked by his former boss to go and help fight natives who are rebelling in Japan. Tom Cruise plays Nathan Algren, the main character, and the leader of the rebellion is Ken Watanabe, who plays Katsumoto. To begin with, this film seems much like other ones that we've seen in the past. There's a little bit of that problem where a white saviour comes in and makes everything better. And I know there are some complaints like that have been levelled against this film and other films like it, such as Dances with Wolves and so on. But this film is a tragedy right from the beginning, and it doesn't really change. The film is also a battle about history versus the modern world, honouring the past and your ancestors and tradition versus embracing new technology. And in this film we have a young emperor who is trying to move into modern times, bringing in people from around the world in order to bring Japan into the new century. He has architects and scientists and inventors and of course warriors from Great America, where they conquered the native people there who were rebelling. And so we come to Katsumoto, who is a samurai. He and his people believe that Japan is changing too fast, and so they fight against those who are embracing guns and cannons and this sort of stuff. Algren comes in to help quash the rebellion, to kill them, except during the first battle he tells them that they're not ready, the soldiers haven't been trained. And during the charge, when the samurai come, the line breaks, the soldiers run, and a lot of people are killed. Algren is captured and taken prisoner by Katsumoto, where he lives with him in his son's village. And because it's coming up to winter, the passes will be frozen, so he has to spend several months living there. However, during the fight, he killed a number of people, including one man, and Algren now lives with his widow and 2 sons. To begin with, he's very much a man possessed by the past. The ghosts of his past continue to haunt him and punish him for the things that he's done, for the innocents that he's killed and the blood that he spilled. Much like we've seen in other films of this sort, he begins to gain an understanding of the people that he's living with and even begins to appreciate their way of life. Visually, this film is absolutely stunning. I'm not sure where it was filmed, but the scenery is amazing. The battle scenes are incredible. The colours, when you see all of the samurai in their armour with their pennants and all of the soldiers arranged in battle with the cannons that are shining, and there's that great contrast between the old world and the new. It's all absolutely breathtaking. All of the actual battle scenes are realistic in that there's a lot of chaos and mess, people dying, screaming, and Algren has flashbacks to fighting the Native Americans again, and that war isn't pretty or beautiful or something to be appreciated. It is something awful, and he becomes to despise it in whatever form it takes. The thing is, he's very good at it, and as he begins to appreciate the samurai and their way of life, he has a form of peace that he's never known in his entire life before, and so he uses his knowledge to protect them and the people that he now cares about, because he can see the balance is off in Japan between the old and the new. To begin with, Algren is quite a horrible character. He's someone who's a broken man who's haunted by the past. but as the film goes on, he begins to change. He finds peace, he finds companionship and friendship, and he starts to respect a different way of life that he has never known. He also has this spirit that refuses to be crushed, and even though he's never held a sword before in the way that the samurai use them, he begins to train, and his teacher is the worst there. He's one of the best people, and he absolutely despises Olgrin. So every time he hits him, all the time he does over the top, and Olgrin takes it, and he keeps fighting, and he keeps practicing, and gradually he earns the grudging respect of his teacher and of many others for his indomitable spirit. There is something tragically heroic about him. And as I mentioned at the start, this film is a tragedy, because despite the victories that they achieve, the modern world is not going to go away. But the Emperor also begins to appreciate what has been lost, and he puts the brakes on in a way to say we should not forget everything that our ancestors have taught us and that they have gifted us. So if you look beyond the battles and some of the problems with the white savior aspect of it, there's a great message there. And even though it's a sad film at times, it's quite a feel-good film too. And these days, I'm all for watching films that are uplifting, or at least those that say we should look at other cultures and customs and be willing to appreciate them and accept them. And that's got to be a good message in any era. I've got to say something about the costumes in this film, because they're absolutely amazing. When you see the samurai all kitted out in their armour, it's something that's completely unforgettable. It's the kind of thing that you've never seen before, and I'm sure they tried to be as accurate as possible. And the image of them riding through the woods in the mist coming towards the enemy with the horns and antlers and incredibly shaped helmets and the studs on their armour, it's just fantastic to look at. The performances in this film are brilliant. Tom Cruise, I actually forgot probably one of the first times ever that I was watching Tom Cruise on screen, because he embodies the character of Olgrin as this very pained and broken man. Ken Watanabe is brilliant. He's calm and collected. He's a leader, and yet you can see that the character is willing to make fun of himself for his people. He's beloved by them, and he has this great dignity and respect that he commands, and it's part of his presence. He's just magnetic on screen. Hiroyuki Sanada is a familiar face. You've seen him in a lot of action films like Logan and X-Men. Most recently, he's been in Westworld. He's always fantastic as a sort of villain, or at least an anti-hero, and whenever he's on screen your eye is instantly drawn to him because he's so good at what he does. Billy Connolly brings a bit of levity to the screen and a bit of comedy moments that you need, because sometimes this film is quite heavy, but he's always a welcome addition, and I've missed seeing him on films. It's been a few years since I've seen this film, so it was good to revisit it after a number of years and look for the things that I've missed and enjoy this spectacle all over again. These days there tends to be a pattern where people say the film is a bit too long, it could have lost 20 or 30 or 40 minutes, and this film is over 2.5 hours. However, I was never bored. The pace was fantastic. I enjoyed it because it was visually interesting. You invest in the characters. You care about Olgrin, even though he is this broken and quite unpleasant man to begin with. You care about Katsumoto and his people. And it's something that I really enjoyed this time. So for all of those reasons, I'm going to give it 5 out of 5 and say, if you've never seen it before, it's definitely worth your time because it's something that's quite amazing to watch. So, have you seen The Last Samurai? If so, get in touch with us and let us know. You can contact us by leaving a comment below. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel. You can also get in touch with us via Twitter, email, or you can come onto the Facebook group. If you like what we do, you can support us on Ko-fi. We have new episodes coming out every week, either from myself or my co-host. Thanks for listening, and see you next time.